This session, we're gonna cover the new smart algorithm, the installation and setting, and also the KingHome Plus app experience. So today, this morning, we're gonna mainly focus on installation and setup. So for you guys to understand what's going on with this thermostat when you will have to install it, you will receive two different controllers. So this is a dual control temperature thermostat where you have like this white thermostat over here that will be installed in the mechanical room. So this is where you're gonna have all the connections and all the stuff for your accessories. And you have this 7-inch touchscreen thermostat that will be installed, uh, for example, on the first floor. So this is mainly to your home, the homeowner use. So let's talk about this touchscreen thermostat real quick. Only need 4 wires from the old thermostat location or to connect to the into like the mechanical room or your furnace. So basically, you have to hook up on the wall, like there's a back plate over here, and you have the connection right behind the thermostat. So you have four wires, 4 terminals. Uh, Two of them are dedicated for communication RS485, and there's 2 port for your 24-volt AC power. So you have a RC terminals and H1, H2. When installing the white one inside the mechanical room, well, again, you can put it like anywhere on your ductwork, on the return ductwork, or on the wall directly inside the mechanical room. But this is where you're gonna have to connect all the wires. All the command terminals are over here, so you have to hang it out on a wall or a junction box, and then you have to push and pin like this little terminal over here to install all the wires into it. When we're looking at all the terminals inside this thermostat, we have a L terminal. This one over here, the first one on the top right, is dedicated for the next generation like R32 or R454B units with the refrigerant sensor. So for now, using R410A, you don't have to attach any wire on this terminal. We have a OB terminal dedicated with the B for our product because this will control the 4-way valve operation. So in heating mode for the KingHome product. We do have also a DH terminal main for an accessories to dehumidify. Y will be your terminals for your compressor calling. G will be your fan control. HUM over here will be for an accessories for a humidifier. We do have a W and W2-aux terminal. So basically, W will be your first stage furnace. So if you're having a gas furnace installed, you will use this W terminal over here and W2 if you have a 2-stage furnace. If you do install a electric hair handler, the only output that we're going to use will be aux for your electric heat strip. We have a R and a C over here for your 24-volt power. H1, H2 over this one will be connected to the one on the first floor. So the touchscreen thermostat. So this H1, H2 will be directly connected to the other one. We also have S1, S2. So there's an accessories like an outdoor ambient temperature accessories that you can connect if the thermostat is not connected to Wi-Fi. So there's no location inside the thermostat, well, you're not using the HAP. So at this point, you can add a 15 kilo-ohm sensor at the outdoor unit, and you can attach those two wires to S1 and S2. And the last one, it's a ERV output. So again, this is another accessories that we put it in just to control like a air exchanger or something like that. So the main focus on this thermostat is now we are using 4 wires from the first floor to the other thermostat over here inside the mechanical room. And then you have your connection to your furnace, and you have your outdoor unit connection to the furnace as well. So you can connect everything inside the cabinet, the furnace cabinet, and then everything will be hooked in place and work perfectly. We're gonna see like the wiring diagram right away in the next few slides. I put it into like a wire per wire connection, so it would be much easier for you to understand what is going on with those type of connection. So let's start with how we will manage the wiring. So basically, this touchscreen thermostat will be on the first floor. So you need to have 4 wire connected. So that will be sent to your mechanical room. We have in this area the mechanical room. So you have your furnace over here. You had this white thermostat as well, and we have the outdoor unit connections over here. So first thing first, I'll always connect my common point like right away, right at the beginning, so I don't forget anything. And the best way to do it, it will be to connect all the wires inside the furnace cabinet on the C terminals. So you will need to have a common wire from the thermostat, the touchscreen thermostat, from the white thermostat, the outdoor unit. So everything will be joined together on the common wire. Next thing we're gonna do are R terminals. So again, we'll do the same over here. So we need to provide a hard terminal for the touchscreen thermostat, a hard terminal for the white thermostat, and also from the outdoor unit. So basically, the transformer installed in your furnace will provide 24 volts to all those devices. So the next one that we have to focus on is H1, H2 over here. So H1, H2 is dedicated to be connected on, well, between both thermostats over here for communication. So those communicating terminals, they are polarity sensitive. So basically your H1 needs to be on H1 and H2 on H2. If you have a optional thermistor, so an outdoor temperature sensor as an option, so this sensor needs to be located outside, and then you have to connect those 2 wires to S1, S2. The B terminal, well, we're gonna use B. Sometimes inside a furnace, you will have a O terminal over here. I know for Lennox, I think you need to cut off a jumper to make it use as a B terminal. But most of the time, it will be like it could be a wire nut that can hold your B terminal over here, or you have a dedicated connector. But basically, we are using B because the outdoor unit, the KingHome product, will use the B terminal because the forward valve is powered during the heat mode. Y terminal will be the call for your compressor. So you on a gas furnace, you have a dedicated terminal for your compressor called Y. So this will start the fan with high speed as well. It will tell the furnace to go in high speed, and then you have to connect the outdoor unit on Y terminal as well. If it's an air handler, a KingHome air handler, there's no Y terminal dedicated, so you can use a wire nut to make it happen, to do your connection inside the air handler. The G terminal is pretty straightforward. So we're going to go from the white thermostats already here, going to your G terminal. So whenever you have a fan operation, so fan on operation from you are calling from the thermostat, this will engage the G to provide 24 volt here and start the fan right away. So now here, this is where it's going to be just like we want to put a focus on the difference between a gas furnace and a air handler, an electric air handler. So basically, when you have a gas furnace installed in that house, you need to connect the W over here. So W here is your first stage gas furnace. So directly on your W1 or W, directly depends on what furnace brand you have in there. And if you have an electric hair handler, then you will use aux over here. So this is a big difference between those two type of connections. Um, Moving forward during the presentation, we're going to see during the setup what is going to happen, how to program all the thermostat and how to do all the settings. But basically, when you are connecting there, it's really, really important to focus on what type of furnace you have there. If it's a gas furnace, connected on W. If it's an electric hair handler, it will be connected on aux. If you do have more accessories, for example, like an optional humidifier, so you can always use a wire nut inside your furnace cabinets over here. So you will have like maybe multiple wires coming from the thermostat to this inside the furnace cabinet. So you can use a wire nut over here and then provide the 24 volt on the water valve coil. So if you have a bypass humidifier or you need to power it up like a relay for a because you're using a vapor humidifier, this relay or this coil needs to be connected to your common. So the common needs to be connected over here back to the common of the transformer inside the furnace. Same stuff with the ERV. So for example, if you have an air exchanger that needs to be 24 volt powered because you have a damper coil or you have some controls over here, you can use the same kind of connections over here. So basically the thermostat will send a 24 volt power to power up a coil directly or some sort of relay if you need to have a dry contact or whatever you are using for this type of options. We're going to use the same path here if you have a dehumidifier. So basically we have multiple algorithms. All three of those options can be connected at the same time. So basically one of the biggest difference from like other thermostat brand when you have only one aux or one option to program your accessories. Now we have all the three available for different options over here. Um, all right. Do we have any questions about the installations and wiring so far? This presentation will also be shared with you guys. So whenever you are on a job site, you can always refer to this schematic. So you will have the presentation at the end of it. So now let's move on to the thermostat setup. So basically, when you are in front of the touchscreen thermostat, uh, you will see different options over here. So right in the middle, right here, this is your set point temperature. So you can use the plus and minus to adjust it, or you can hold like this little pointer over here and just manually move around to select your room temperature. On the left side over here, this is the room temperature's reading. So basically only the touchscreen thermostat is reading the temperature. So the white thermostat inside the mechanical room will not provide any room temperature at all. On the other side, we have the humidity level inside the house. So basically, this is where we can set our humidifier, um, dehumidifier or air exchanger parameter. So basically we will take the room temperature and it will be the room humidity and it will be displayed over here. On the top here you will have calendar like months and date. Outdoor temperature over here will be shown only if you're using the smart algorithm when it's connected to Wi-Fi, or if you had installed a outdoor temperature sensor like a 15 kilo sensor. Hour will be so time will be displayed over here. We can select our operation mode, fan control. We can add some weekly schedule as well. And the function button over here is to enter all the installation parameters of the menu that we will have to click and adjust during the installation. So one important thing, just before doing all the stuff over here inside this thermostat, always put your mode to off mode before changing any settings inside the thermostat. So basically, if you are in heat mode or cool mode, you won't be able to access all the settings. So it needs to be set to off, okay, before you click on your function menu and go to adjust any settings. We will have the same kind of operation from the white thermostat. So basically all the programs, all the stuff can be done from directly inside the mechanical room from the white thermostat, or you can go upstairs and doing it on the touchscreen thermostat. So there's no difference because they will communicate one to the other all the time. So whenever you do a change from the mechanical room or you do a change on the first floor, they will communicate the change all the time. So there's no point to adjust one or and the other after. It's basically the same parameter, same stuff from one or the other. What is really important to when we are going to the installer setup inside the wire thermostat, there's a primary controller over here. This cannot be changed. It needs to be set to primary. And the communication type needs to be 24 volt always. So we do have a setup called user function. Inside the user function, you can select different parameter from there. You can select your dual fuel. So basically, we can use the smart mode. So using the algorithm, so the thermostat will be connected on Wi-Fi, connected to the cloud, and then we can perform the algorithm to use so the changeover between the furnace and the heat pump. Or it can be used as a standard thermostat, so no Wi-Fi application, and the only thing that needs to be set there is to have the outdoor temperature sensor to provide the outdoor temperature if you are using the thermostat as a standard function. Humidifier can be turned on or off. It will depend on if you had these options. ERV dehumidifier, same stuff. So you can select an on or off. And we do have a humidity set point. So basically, if you have a humidifier installed, you want to activate it like at 45% inside so to maintain 45% inside the house, well, you can adjust the sliding bar to that level, and then there's always a 5% differential between a dehumidifying set point and the humidifier set point. So basically, we have a 5% dead band. Uh, In the user setup as well, we have a system memory that we can use. We can adjust it on or off. So basically, it will be defaulted on. On means the systems will just restart the current operation mode if you have a power failure or if you just close the power to the furnace or whatever. So basically, every time you will power back on, the system will just recall what mode it was in. So basically, if you were in heat mode, you powered it off and then powered it on again, it will just recall it was in heat and the temperature set point as well. So it may be possible that the furnace will light up because you just recall its last operation. If you put it on off, then at every restart, it will be off mode. So at that point, you have to manually put back the mode yourself to heat or cool to make it work again. There's also a child lock available when using the touchscreen thermostat. If you enable this function, so it will, if you turn it on, the screen will be locked automatically. So you have to go back to the main screen and then press and hold the screen for 5 seconds in the middle of the screen, and then it will be unlocked. We do have the same process that we can do with the outdoor temperature, the white thermostat inside the mechanical room. But at that point, you just have to hold down arrow, up arrow to use the child lock or unlock it. We have a Wi-Fi reset. Also, when it comes to so if you have some troubles to connect the Wi-Fi or there's some problems with you need to reconnect to the app, well, you can always like restart the Wi-Fi process from the thermostat right here. We have a language choice over here, so we can choose from English or French as well. We have a display, an adjustable display, so we can adjust the brightness and also the lock screen time. So basically, when you're not using the thermostat or when you're not touching the thermostat, the screen will go blank. So it will go black. So you don't see it. You don't see the temperature. You will have to touch it to touch the screen to activate it, to awake it. But you can adjust the lock screen timer, so from 15 seconds to 30 minutes. And there's a voice option that is an on-off option. Whenever you're clicking on some buttons, you will hear a small beep, so you can turn that sound off. Time setting can be adjusted from like if you want to have like a 12-hour display or a 24-hour display. It can be also manually adjust if you put it on off, or it could be synchronized with the app if you have the Wi-Fi and app connected. You can use degree Celsius, degree Fahrenheit, and you have a filter cleaning reminder. So from 0 days to up to 24 months. So basically, you can adjust when it's the filter change reminder for your customer, just to make sure they will have a notice on the screen that says you need to change your filter now. There's a option called service hotline. So this is only in use when via the app. So basically with the thermostat physically, you don't have to adjust anything on that. You can also select a minimum cool or a maximum heat set point. So this is an adjustable sliding bar. So basically, you can lock the thermostat, for example, to not go lower than 16 degrees Celsius, for example. So your customer cannot go lower than that. It could be adjusted to whatever temperature you want to make it. If you want to make sure that the customer will not go lower than 18 degrees, you can put it there. And also a maximum heat set point, same stuff over here. If you don't want your customer to use the systems like over a 30 degrees Celsius temperature inside the house, well, you can lock that right here in the user setup. Let's move forward with the installation setup. We have a outdoor unit type that you can select. So basically, the default setup is heat pump because any like cold climate or economical systems are heat pump, or you can choose an air conditioner, so straight air conditioner using just your Y output, so Y and C, to power up the system as a straight air conditioner. The four-way valve, we do have the selections available. By default, it will be always on B because KingHome product using B to power up the four-way valve in heating mode. But for example, if this thermostat needs to be hooked to a third-party outdoor unit or whatever, and you have a four-way valve activated in cooling mode, then you can change the selections over here. We have 3 different indoor unit type that you can select. By default, it will be used as a air handler. So now you have to use aux to power up the electrical heat strip, or you can change to a gas furnace, a one-stage, single-stage gas furnace, or a two-stage gas furnace. So basically, if you have a two-stage gas furnace, W1 and W2 need to be connected. Inside the installation setup, there's some parameter dedicated to air handler only, and we have some parameter dedicated for gas furnace only. So basically, those 4 setting that we're gonna see on that slide are dedicated for air handler only. So it will power it up, or it will be like a program only dedicated for aux output only. And when you're using air handler as your indoor unit, the Y and aux output can be powered simultaneously. So basically, you can use the heat pump and the heat strip at the same time. So the first settings that we're gonna met is aux on timer. So that's mean your aux will be active after a delay on time from like 0 minutes up to 120 minutes. So you can adjust that to provide more like economical, like in an economical way to your customer. So you want to use the heat pump as long as possible, and you can add a timer to kick in with the electric strip. Max activate temperature for aux is a indoor room temperature lockout. So basically, if you're using this feature and you set it up to like 20 or 21 degrees Celsius, when the room temperature is above that set point, the aux output will be disabled. So the customer will not be able to heat up with the electric strip. So again, it will be only using the heat pump because it's already hot in the house. So we don't need to use more electricity at that point. Aux on temperature differential, when you can select that and you can adjust a setting based on the temperature differential from the room temperature and your set point. So if, for example, if you're select, you had select like 2 degrees Celsius, so the set point needs to be 2 degrees Celsius higher than the room temperature to power up the heat strip. And also we have a feature called satisfy room temperature with aux, and this is an on-off option. So basically this option is to provide you to make a choice between aux on timer or aux on temperature differential. So this is one or the other. So you can adjust both, but with this options over here, you're gonna select which one you want to use. So off position, this is the default position. We're gonna use aux on temperature differential parameter. So this one will be active and not the timer. If you want to use a timer, instead you have to select on to use the aux on timer parameter, and this one will be disabled at the moment. So basically, this is where there's two mindsets to use those stuff. So this is a bit of fine tuning, but this is the way you can, well, just to understand it, is to, for example, you have a customers that drop the temperature uh, during the night, and then suddenly in the morning he wants to increase the room temperature by 4 degrees, and he wants to have the systems kicking in really rapidly. Well, at that point we can use aux on differential temperatures. So your heat pump will go on and your electric strip will go on after, because you have more degrees than your deadband actual difference in that parameter. So both will be powered on. But you can do the opposite, saying you want to only use the heat pump. And if you are using the heat pump for more than like 30 or 45 minutes, then you can power up the heat strip, and so had more power, more heat to the systems to reach out the set point. So this is like really important to understand what's going on with this parameter, because by default we're going to use aux on temperature differential. So now on this slide, we are switching to furnace only installation parameter. So basically, this is where we're gonna make a difference. So this thermostat is pretty straightforward. We don't have like pages and pages and pages of installation setup. It's pretty straightforward. So now if you have a gas furnace, you just have to focus on this slide as well. So basically, when you have selected, for example, like a two-stage gas furnace in your indoor units, you these parameter will disable the use of Y and W1 at the same time, so simultaneously. So basically, it will cancel the heat pump to switch to your gas furnace, so they cannot run at the same time. We do have a dual fuel switch outdoor temperature. So basically, you will select your balance point based on the outdoor temperature. So if you have like an outdoor sensor connected to the systems or using the outdoor temperature via the app, whenever you are below this outdoor unit selection, the systems will cancel the heat pump and automatically switch to the gas furnace. We have a dual fuel switch timer where you can enter a delay on time from using the heat pump to switch to the gas furnace. So at that point, we're gonna have, for example, we can use the heat pump for like 30 minutes and then it will switch over. Uh, there's a parameter called minimum operation timer. This is really not in use. This parameter is just mainly focused on like having a time delay between the furnace operation. For example, if you adjust like 5 minutes on this timer, well, before if you do like a call for your furnace and then you shut it off, then you have to wait 5 minutes till it will be back on again. So basically, this one will, you can adjust it to 0 or 5, but it's not really in use. Uh, Satisfy room temperature with dual fuel. So again, that will be the same parameter as we saw with the air handler. So we can select if we want to use a temperature differential to power it up the furnace, or we're going to use a switch timer. So we already programmed the dual fuel switch timer over here, and just below this one, we have dual fuel and temperature differential. And so the default setting is off using dual fuel on temperature differential. So basically, again, if you add more degrees to your set point, so for example, 2 degrees Celsius over the actual room temperature, then we will shut off the heat pump and turn on the furnace. If you want to use it as a timer, so a switch timer, then you have to put this feature here on to activate the switch timer. And then, for example, we're going to use the heat pump always as the first stage of heat, and then it will switch over your time delay to the gas furnace if the system is not able to maintain the temperature inside the house. And we have a stage 2 timer over here, so only available when you have a 2-stage furnace. So this is a timer between your W1 and W2 output. So you can adjust it, for example, like 15 minutes if you want to just delay on time the operation of your gas valve. So the next feature over here are for both air handler or gas furnace. So the rest of the parameter will be for both setup. You can revise the temperature display. So basically, we have the ability to input like a temperature offset from what the temperature, what is the real temperature inside the house. So basically, if you have, for example, like a homeowner put in other like temperature sensors all around that room, and it keeps saying like, oh, the thermostat is showing like 22, but it's actually 21. Well, you can adjust it right over here, put in like a -1 room temperature, and now the display will be on 21. So you can do like a +5, -5 operation here to adjust the room temperature offset. There's two parameters called the cool swing temperature or the heat swing temperature. Those one are only available when automatic mode is selected. So you don't use cool mode or heat mode, you are really on auto mode. And then this is to adjust your balance point temperature between heat and cool. So basically, we can input like a 2 degrees temperature differential between heat and cool. So you will have like a dead point, a dead band between your cooling mode and heat mode. Um, We do have a compressor on timer. So this one is to select a time delay value between 1 to 15 minutes to activate the Y output from the thermostat. So basically, if you put it on 1 minute and you do have a like on-off operation from your system, it will add 1 more minute to the system to be active to call for the compressor. So there will be 0 volt to your Y till you finish this time delay. So you can adjust it from 1 to 15 minutes. Minimum compressor operation timer. This is a different operation. So this one can be adjusted from 1 to 6 minutes. And it's just to let the systems run, so the compressor to run a minimum runtime to not like to avoid damage the compressor or to damage the system, because we know whenever we are activating the compressor, it needs to run like maybe 1 minute just to make sure everything rotated quickly, the lubrifications happens and all the stuff. So there's a minimum runtime to that compressor. So it could be 1 to 6 minutes. And we do have a fan off timer operation. So basically, you can delay your fan off operation. So after a heat or a cool demand, whenever this heat or cool demand is satisfied, we can still provide 24 volt on the G output for 0 minutes up to 10 minutes. So basically, most of the time it will be like 1 minute and a half, or you can down it to 1 minute if you want to, but it's good whenever you are using your heat pump, or even like with the gas furnace, you want to make sure you cool down the combustion chamber. So it's good to have your blower on like 1 minute, 1 minute-ish after a heat call. So far, so good. Do you have any more questions on the installation setup? No? Seems good. All right, we can going on. So now we're gonna enter like the fun part. Okay. Those thermostat can be connected to the Wi-Fi. So basically, the homeowner needs to download the KingHome Plus app on his phone, available on Apple or Google Store. He needs to create an account, so to register like a new account, put in like his Wi-Fi information, location, all the stuff to make sure the systems can find it. So basically, in its region, so postal code, all the stuff need to be available to be able to now connect the system to the Wi-Fi. So right when you have done your installation, you powered it up the system tries to connect right away. So whenever you are opening the app, you will see like a red dot over this the top right corner over here, and basically you will have one or maybe two devices, because the touchscreen thermostat is Wi-Fi capable, and the white thermostat inside the mechanical room is Wi-Fi capable as well. But basically, you have to select the first one. The first one will be always the nearest. So if you are on the first floor near to that thermostat, the first one that you're going to see here, you clicked on it, and then it will connect to your app. So you will add it to your app. If you don't find the thermostat right away, you can also do a manual search. Okay, so by clicking on the plus here, you can go to commercial AC, color screen thermostat, and you can manually find it. Or if the thermostat doesn't show any Wi-Fi response, you can go to the settings and go to Wi-Fi reset, and then the systems will try to um, enable the Wi-Fi match again. And then you will have a loading session over here, and then whenever it's fine, you will be able to connect it to the app and add it to your customers login. So again, we can do the same if you want to connect the white thermostat as well. So we can go to thermostat and search manually for it to connect it, but it's not really necessary to have both thermostat connected because they are already talked one to the other via the communication wire. So at that point, only one thermostat needs to be connected, and it's better to have the touchscreen one. So whenever you are inside the app, you can have multiple device over here. So inside this app, it's also good for dockless. If you have iWall systems or those thermostat, you can have everything inside the KingHome Plus app. But for example, this example, we're gonna focus on like the touchscreen thermostats over here. So I had one into my account. I can physically push or click on the blue surface over here, and it will open this screen over here. So now I see my system is off, fan auto. I see my room temperature, room humidity, and we do have multiple selection we can do here. So adding a schedule, powering it up the fan, select the mode, and there's more and more stuff using the app over here. But I want just you to focus on those three little dots over here on the top right corner. So basically, this is where you're gonna have to enter all your smart control settings. So you clicked on those three little dots, it will open this page over here, okay? And then you have your device detail where you can rename the thermostat if you want. If you want to add to rename it like touchscreen thermostat, you can just rename it. Service provider switch, we will always use the KingHome as a service provider switch because we are using the KingHome algorithm to manage between the heat pump and the gas furnace. Now then, you have to enter your gas price, electricity price, location. It will, when you clicked on the location, it will actually find your cell phone, so where you are at the moment. Installer information, if you want to input your phone numbers or company phone number, and engineering settings, where the last one that needs to be set to enable the cloud service, so the algorithm. So let's start with the gas price or electricity price. You can go, we were using like energyshop.com just to enter like your postal code. So you can go on this website over here just to find your natural gas price or electricity price and all the stuff. So this is really, really important to make sure your customer will input the right settings on this, well, in the thermostat. So it's good to just rely on what we are paying actually for your gas versus electricity. So basically what we are looking for is the total of cents per cube meter. So at that point, this is what we're gonna what we are looking for. For the electricity price, it really depends on the time of use. So sometimes you have a high peak, mid peak, or a half peak. So your rate, electricity rate, will change depending from the hour of the day. So we do have the ability to answer 4 different time of use during weekday and 2 different time of use during weekend. Every single adjustment needs to be entered if you want to make it happen, and just saved it using the algorithm. So you cannot leave anything blank. Every slides over here needs to be filled with a hour and a price. So it really depends on the hour of the day if you will use like your off-peak schedule, mid-peak, or high peak. So this process over here, it's a little bit tricky, but once you have done it once, you will be good to move forward and do it more quicker for your customer. So you can tell your customer how to do it, or you can do it for them at that point. But to make sure the smart control setting will be active when entering the electricity price set. So first thing first, we have to select our summer month. So summer period. So under the summer here, you will enter the period of time, month of the inside the year that you are using a different peak or different rates. Then you have to start with 00. So basically those time of use will use a 24 hour so during the day. So we have to start at 00 and end it at 00. Then when you click on the time of use, for example, if is from midnight to 7 a.m., I'm on the low peak, I'm going to input my numbers right away. So 7.6 cents per kilowatt. Now then, I'm going to adjust my time of use number 2. So starting from 7, it needs to go for till 11, for example. My rate is a bit higher, so I'm going to input that price over here. Time of use number 3, we're going to use the same pattern. So starting at 11, going to 7 p.m. Now I'm on the high rate, so I'm going to input that number over here. And then time of use number 4, we're going to put same pattern over here. So 7 p.m. till midnight, and I'm on the low peak, okay, at that point. So this is how to make it happen. So you have to do like a full day, 24 hours, so from midnight to the other midnight, but you have to input all the pricing and all the stuff. For example, if you have only one rate, so one singular rate, you can put all the hours to make it happen, but using the same cost over here. But every line need to be filled with a with some stuff, with the right hours, right stuff to be able to save it. So you cannot overlap hour, and it needs to be well, you have to adjust like all the rates and all the stuff. Same stuff for the weekend. So we're gonna start at 00, end it to 00. If we are using the same rate during the weekend, then you will input like the same price. So next one, now, because we have done our summertime, we're gonna switch to our winter period. So now the month needs to be different. So basically, we were like May to September, for example, and then your winter rate will start, for example, October to April. So now we are not overlapping any month, and then we have a different um, set point for our winter period or our summer period. And we're going to use the same kind of hours, rates. If they are different, you're going to change it. But this is really important to use the same way to adjust the time during the day. So a 24 hours period, and you input all the rates. Same stuff for the weekend as well. It needs to be from midnight to the next midnight, so it will be much easier for you to understand it when you are doing it like this. So never overlapping hours from a time of use to another time of use. The last one we're gonna have to do is the engineering settings. So now engineering settings, it's pretty straightforward. We're gonna use the this is where you are putting your selection if you have a cold climate heat pump or the economical one, because there's two different algorithm for those two type of systems. So this is why this thermostat is really dedicated to KingHome, because we are using our algorithm uh, based on the COP of the units. So you can input a temperature lockout. Okay, so for example, if you have a cold climate and you want to switch to gas, like after a certain degrees, you can do it uh, from the lowest outdoor temperature you want to reach out. And then again, you can also set a fan delay uh, shutdown to your system, and you will select your mode over here. So if you have a cold climate KU system, 3-ton, you're gonna input the information. So the systems will pick the right algorithm for your system. If you have an Eco KD system, now then you select the right tonnage to enable the right algorithm. So basically, through all the stuff that we have discussed so far, we are suggesting to put your KU system at -10 as your balance point, because you still have, for example, for a 3-ton system, you still have 100% capacity till -10 degrees Celsius. And for the Eco system, if you have a KD, now you can put the switching period, so your balance point, to 0 degrees Celsius. Now, when everything is done and properly set, now you can go back to your main screen over here. You have two little arrow over here, so you can swipe it up or you can just click on it and it will open like this menu over here. And the smart control needs to be in a blue circle. So when the smart control is in the blue, like this, it means is this smart control is enabled, and now we are communicating all the information with the cloud. So basically, we adjust a balance point from your outdoor temperature, but the system will also um, adjust its call for, especially for heating, based on all the price you have input earlier from your gas price versus electricity price. And the greatest thing about this thing is the system will choose the cheaper systems to run during that period of the day. So basically, when your electricity goes real high, so you are on a high peak period, based on your gas price selection, if your gas is cheaper, it will start the gas furnace right away. So you won't have the heat pumps running during your high peak period rate. So this is really, really nice to have the smart control enable to make it sure the systems will always choose the cheaper way to heat up the house for your customer. If the smart control here is in gray, that's mean we are in standard mode. So now the cloud switching is disabled. So still your outdoor temperature balance point will be functional, but now the smart switching from the price point is not available. Some additional settings from here, from the app also. Um, there's a usage report that you can control, you can see. So from your app over here, you can see the running days for the system, how many times or the percentage of use of the heat pump and the percentage of use of your gas furnace. So it will give us like this diagram over here so your customer can also relate on, oh, I use my heat pump like this amount of time right now versus my gas furnace. We also have the ability to set up a schedule via the app. So this feature over here can be done via your customer settings. So basically, it's pretty straightforward. You're gonna have your cooling set point, heating set point. You can do multiple agenda, so 4 different agenda for it, and you will click the days that you want to make it happen. So basically, when they are in blue, this is because they are enabled. If they are in gray, this is they are disabled. So we are using 2 different system, 2 different thermostat, but basically those two are always communicating. So via the RS4 85 and also via the app as well when everything is connected together. So whenever you are doing a change on the app and you will see the change on the temperature display over here uh, from the touchscreen thermostat, or if you are in the mechanical room, you will see it on the white thermostat as well. So now I think it's time